Welcome to Empath Inspiration, where you are honored for your ability to feel so much, so deeply. Each week, you will learn practical information, tools, and insights that empower empaths to live healthy, productive lives. Here's your host, author, intuitive, natural health and holistic nutrition consultant, and the developer of the Foundations Healing System, a revolutionary self-healing method designed specifically for empaths, Dr. Janice Carlin.
Hello and welcome to Empath Inspiration. This is a safe and honoring space for you to be you. I want to start with a question for you. Do you ever feel or believe that you're weak because you're a sensitive person? Well, I'm going to clear this up right off the bat. You're in no way weak because you're sensitive. In fact, I'm going to show you how quite the opposite is true. So remember what sensitivity actually is. It's a reaction to stimuli. The more sensitive you are means the more you react to energy. Remember that everything is energy in different forms. And the fact that you, as a highly sensitive person, are still alive on this planet right now shows how strong you are. Everyone reacts to energy, but some people can process it through themselves more quickly and easily, while other people are much slower to be able to process and detoxify low vibrational toxic energies. Some people's reactions aren't even that noticeable, while highly sensitive people's reactions can be very intense. And that's the basics about sensitivity, but people don't talk about it like that. The word sensitive has so many negative connotations that involve judgment. No one can see the complex ways that your energy systems are designed and function as a highly sensitive person. And trust me, it's complex. No one can see what's happening in your DNA that makes it more difficult for you to process toxins and chemicals and pain. People judge other people based upon behaviors they see on the outside. We all know it's a mistake to judge like this, but we're taught to do it from the first time we go to a doctor and they give us a diagnosis based on the symptoms that are presenting that we don't like. It's a judgment. Did you know that in the United States, if you go for a session with any doctor or therapist that takes insurance, they have to give you a diagnosis? No matter what you tell your psychologist, in the end, they have to submit a diagnosis to your insurance company. We're taught to accept judgment for the way we feel and the way we behave, and this leads to the belief that there's something wrong with us. It's terribly unfortunate, and just because some systems of healthcare work in this way in the world doesn't make it true or right. On any given day, a highly sensitive, empathic person is going to feel something that doesn't feel good within themselves. Even if they're feeling just fine, the pain or discomfort will still come. It's the way it is. You know what I'm talking about. You could be feeling good at work or school and having a good day, and then someone takes out a spray bottle of body mist or perfume and sprays it, and you walk into the room and pass through it, and bam! You're dealing with inhaling and smelling toxic chemicals, and now you aren't feeling so great anymore. Or you're having a good day and then you walk into a space that needs to be cleared of low vibrational entities, and you're suddenly overwhelmed with emotion and you begin to cry. There are reasons that you feel like you do. If you're particularly sensitive, you could be feeling all right and then suddenly feel very anxious for no apparent reason to you, but then you find out later that night on the news that there was a violent bombing somewhere in the world that instantly killed 100 children at exactly the moment you started to feel anxiety. Let me remind you that you are not unstable, you're feeling energy. You don't have an anxiety condition or depression, you're reacting to low vibrational energies that exist in this world. These are just a few examples that came right to my mind, but there could be a million more. You aren't weak because someone put something toxic into the air where you are, and then you feel badly. You aren't crazy because you feel sad and anxious because children are purposefully being killed. You have to look at how you feel in relation to living on this planet. We judge people too much instead of attending to the issues that are hurting them and causing so much pain. Reacting to toxic energies does not make us weak. It makes us alive. We're here experiencing living on a planet in the third dimensional physical experience. If you have a body that can efficiently and effectively process chemical toxins, then you have an easier time living here, but it doesn't mean that you're stronger. People who are less sensitive don't have to consciously work as hard to keep low vibrations away from them because their bodies do most of the work for them. Most very sensitive empaths have variations in their DNA that compromise the capacity of the body to naturally detox itself. I'll talk about this in more detail in another episode, but for now, please know that it's very true. And because this exists, it means that sensitive people have to work harder and use more tools in order to keep themselves well and safe. Now, one of the definitions of strength is the power to resist force and attack. It's not the ability to do so, because strength happens on multiple levels. The scientist Stephen Hawking had one of the strongest minds in the world, but no muscle strength in his body due to a debilitating disease. But he didn't give up on his work, and he didn't give up on his life, even though he couldn't move his body or even speak aloud. He influenced what we know and think about the way that the universe works until he passed away. No one could say that Stephen Hawking was a weak force in this world. Children are always judged as weaker than adults. Really? How many of us are wearing garments and using products that were made by children who work all day long in third world countries? How many adults do you know that could effectively work 14 hours without enough food and water every day? Looking upon anyone as weak is a false judgment. Now, spiritually speaking, angels are beings of light that assist us here. They're pure and loving and light-based energies. They have the ability to protect us and clear terribly low vibrational, harmful energies away from us. People pray to angels all the time because they know that they're powerful and will provide help when called upon. And those of you who know my work are aware that I teach about soul energy types, which includes information about where individual souls are from, why they exist, and why they're here on earth right now. Angels can and do incarnate here all of the time. But most of them are very, very sensitive to the low vibrations that exist here. They're the ones whose bodies can become damaged severely, even with one toxic exposure. And we judge them as weak. They and other beings of light from places other than Earth are the sickly kids who can't tolerate eating certain foods or going into certain spaces or even being outside in the world at all. And we judge these beings as weak for this. These are beings of light that have come here for the purpose of assisting a race and a planet that are literally dying. They're brave and they're strong for even deciding to and having made the trip here. These children and adults are highly sensitive. How can we judge? I'm sorry, I'm feeling emotion about this. How can we judge an angel for feeling sad when she's around other people who are sad? Angels are pure love. They feel for all of us. I feel it now. They want to help us. Once they're connected to a human body that has the capacity to feel emotions as we do, they feel those emotions. They're no longer angels. You see? And this comes through me very passionately because I want you to break free from the programming that you've been exposed to throughout your life that has to do with judging yourself as weaker than other people due to your sensitivity. Some people experience one tragic event in their lifetime and are left permanently, emotionally, and mentally incapacitated. Sensitives experience these things all of the time through themselves from other people, and have to find ways to keep going forward. Some people experience these things all the time, every day themselves. Have you heard of the Lost Boys of Sudan? The first time I heard their stories was when I read a book called The Long Walk to Water by Linda Sue Park. just in case you aren't familiar, very quickly, I'll tell you, it tells the true story of the civil war in Sudan that lasted over 2 decades. This is started in the mid-1980s. 2 million people died and 4 million more were displaced from their homes, so they had to flee for their lives to refugee camps in Ethiopia and Kenya, literally walking through the wilderness. 17,000 southern Sudanese children fled into the bush, and they became known as the Lost Boys of Sudan. Many of these children died, but others survived. And the main character of the book is 11-year-old Salva Deut, who was one of those boys. First, he fled Ethiopia, and then a few years later, he led 1,500 lost boys, hundreds of miles through the southern Sudan desert to the Kakuma refugee camp in Kenya. Today, he lives in the United States, and he leads a nonprofit organization called Water for South Sudan. He oversees their drilling operations in Africa, bringing clean, safe water to people who have zero access to it. He continues to travel the world educating people and fundraising for this work. Now, how in the world did he and any of these children make it through the experiences they did and still have the strength and the desire to keep living and even giving back to help people in the world? When you see Salva speak, you can watch videos of him online. He smiles. How can this person be smiling after all that he went through? How can any of them? Where does this strength of spirit come from? That's right. It's not human. You may mistakenly believe that because you feel so much that you're somehow weaker than other people, but it's the opposite of that. Saying that, it's like believing that women are a weaker sex, but how many men do you think could actually survive pregnancy and the birthing process and then go immediately into having zero sleep and nourishing a baby round the clock through their own bodies, much less go back to work full time after a few weeks of living like this? We do what we have to do when we're called upon to do it, and that's how we're able to do it. But there's a lot of information available to us about pregnancy, childbirth, and nursing. And there are doctors and nurses and other people out there to support us along the way. But when it comes to living as a sensitive in this world, there isn't the same support and guidance available to us. I decided after my son was born that I would figure out what I needed to do in order for both of us to be able to be healthy, and that I wouldn't stop until I did. It took me over a decade, and once I had answers, I had no desire at all to keep them to myself, which is why you find me talking to you today like this. Now, people use the words inner strength all the time, but what do they really mean? I'm not a large person physically. I don't have strong muscles for lifting or moving heavy things. Your inner strength comes from your light. Your light is your power. Some people have developed great physical strength, and I just think that is awesome. But I'm not one of those people. What I do have, though, is perseverance. So when you can look beyond the outside of the body and know that on the inside is a being of light that's unaccustomed to living in a world of violence and toxicity, you can stop judging yourself or anyone else as weak for any of the ways that they act and show up in the world. I know how much sensitive people struggle to live in this world because I'm one of them. I know how much effort it takes to keep going every single day. And I never give up because I know how strong my light is. And because I know without a doubt that my life is strong, I'm able to fall back on it. I'm able to trust myself that no matter what I'm feeling or going through, that my light will not be harmed. My body may struggle, my light doesn't. And I've worked so hard to make sure that my light stays present and grounded with my body because my very sensitive body needs my light to protect it and heal it. When you allow and work to keep your light present and grounded with your body, you'll find that you can overcome so many more challenges that you face than if you don't. Over the years, I've cleared so much icky, low vibrational stuff from my own body, other people's bodies, and the rest of this planet. It's truly amazing to think about. So why do I think I'm strong enough to go head to head with these energies of darkness? Because I know that inside of myself, I am good and I am light. And the light always wins because it's the only thing that's actually real. Now think about this. We live in a third dimensional space here, but that doesn't mean that other dimensions don't exist. Scientists work hard to prove their existence, but there's so many, many more than that. I know this because inside of my being, I've experienced them. And I've been told intuitively over and over to share this information as truth. No matter how many dimensions there really are, the truth is that there are many more than what we're aware of here on Earth. As the dimensions go higher and higher in vibration, energies that exist as lower vibrations here don't even exist there. In the light, there is light because darkness cannot exist there. So when I'm dealing with lower vibrations on Earth, I come and approach it from a state of awareness that they aren't even authentic. Yeah, I may be able to experience them here, but that doesn't give them power or realness. It's kind of like when you're dreaming and everything is all crazy and doesn't function like it does in the waking world. Does that mean it doesn't exist? Was your dream a lie? Or was it a different experience of reality? Who knows, right? It's worth considering, I think. So the low vibrations that cause destruction here, or something that I've consciously chosen and worked to keep out of my space to the best of my ability. In my space, I want it to be as highly vibrational as possible. In essence, as close to my natural spiritual state as I can, being here on Earth. My natural state is pure light, and if I bring lower vibrations into it, I'm bringing dissonance to my being. Of course, our bodies can't thrive when they're exposed to toxic energies, but our spirits struggle to be grounded because they're having to live in a space that's low vibrational. Okay, if we continue to expose our bodies like that. When your light can't be grounded in this physical reality, you will suffer so much more. This is when the toxins can really take root within you. This is when you can switch over into an actual experience of mental illness. When your light isn't grounded, your life as a sensitive, I'll say again, it's just so much harder. So if you're finding that you're having a hard time being grounded and staying present, I really urge you to look into my course, Masterful Empath, because you'll find the resources and support you need in order to get yourself to a grounded and present state and start feeling better. Take a message from Salva and the Lost Boys. And remember that no matter what happens to you in this lifetime, your light is strong and will not be defeated. So please work to keep it present with your body so that your light can protect, nourish, and heal you. Thank you so much for listening today. I look forward to sharing more empowering and inspiring information with you. So until next time, stay empowered and remember how strong you really are.
Thank you for listening today. Please join us next week as Janice answers listener questions and provides more inspiration and practical applications for you to live a healthy, productive life as an empath.